Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Premier. COVID has taught us that failing to follow the scientists has catastrophic consequences, paid sick days being one example. Scientists are warning us of the urgency to act on another pending crisis, the climate crisis. A new report today shows that Highway 413 will increase GHG emissions by 700,000 tons per year, 17.4 million tons of climate pollution in the next 3 decades. So, Speaker, will the Premier listen to the scientists and not the land speculators and cancel Highway 413?
To reply on behalf of the government, Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, as I indicated earlier to the member opposite, I thank the member for the question. As I indicated earlier, we are doing the important work of completing a fulsome environmental assessment process as we consider whether or not to proceed with Highway 413. We believe, unlike the Liberals, that it's important to collect all the evidence. The information that was published today is, of course, of great interest and will feed into the work that we're doing. But we believe that the demographic growth in the Greater Golden Horseshoe to come in the next few decades warrants our government taking the time to consider what the transportation needs are of the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and that means continuing with the environmental assessment process for Highway 413.
Supplementary question.
Speaker, an expert panel has already concluded that the cost of Highway 413 far exceed any benefits. The report today shows that the cost of air pollution alone will be $1.4 billion. The highway will pave over 2,000 acres of prime farmland and unleash sprawl on additional farmland needed to grow food. It'll pave over 400 acres of the Greenbelt, increase climate pollution to a point where we will not be able to meet our obligations, cost taxpayers $6 to $10 billion, all to save commuters 30 seconds. I think the evidence is clear. The scientists, the experts, now local municipal councils, the Ontario Federation of Agriculture and others are saying, listen to the science, cancel Highway 413 and use that money for higher priorities.
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the GTA West Highway Corridor is subject to individual environmental assessment, which is among the most stringent assessment processes on record. As I've indicated, we're taking the time, the necessary time, to study the highway and all of its impacts. That includes taking in information from stakeholders who are looking for additional transportation infrastructure so that they can get their goods to market. As Minister of Transportation, it is my responsibility to oversee the transportation network today and to consider what its needs are for tomorrow. And so we are doing that important work, Mr. Speaker. We believe it's essential for drivers in the coming years, but also in the coming decades, and we will do all the work that's necessary as we study the project itself.